Hey there, welcome. Lotus, Art of Sacred Embodiment. Everything we talk about here is all about embodying higher frequencies, expanded consciousness, more love, our divinity, moving through the phases and stages of our own developmental evolution to remember ourselves home to the wholeness that we are, connected to soul, connected to spirit, interconnected to all of life. So I want to talk about divinely aligning, as I call it, or just what's your highest alignment, highest trajectory. If you watch my videos, you'll probably see that I do this a lot. And when I do this, this is sort of my own mudra that automatically comes through me to express that alignment. And that alignment that raises us, right, up into our own highest expressions. So divinely aligning, it was the third module of a course that I used to teach called Four Sacred Keys to Ascension. And the first is all about grounding, that first key that opens up the door really to everything that enables our evolution to take place is becoming more deeply embodied, to become coherent, to be able to listen, sense, and feel what's happening inside, to be able to hear our own truth and to know our own soul guidance. It's an ongoing process. It doesn't happen overnight, but it becomes a foundation that stabilizes us and grounds us. You might have a whole other way of doing this rather than, say, meditation, or meditation is the most common ways. You might have a movement practice that does that for you. You might be able to take a walk in the forest, spend time with trees. That does that for you. Whatever works that brings you into a coherent state where you feel calm and clear and at peace within your being. So the second stage then is falling into self-love. And falling into self-love happens when we come home to ourselves. We can see ourselves clearly. We can hold ourselves tenderly. If we're experiencing our wounds or shadow aspects, we learn how to come into acceptance, how to come into the healing process. How do I heal this? How do I need to shift and change so that we come home more to loving thyself, which then allows us to love others, right? It allows us, if I have compassion for me, if I have deeper understanding for me, if I have, if I'm okay with my own shadow, with my own faults, with my own, messiness, then I can hold space for other people in their vulnerabilities as well. And that becomes then the ability to make choices that are serving my highest good. So this is where alignment comes in. If I am in self-rejection or self-negation, if I don't like myself, if I have judgments against myself, it's going to be hard for me to hear the deeper voices of my own deeper knowing of my worth, of what I deserve, what is right and true for me. It's going to get all clouded. See what I mean? And I'm not going to feel very safe and stable in my expression and in, keep taking these off. They don't work for me out here. In who I am, right? And whenever I have these, I'm not going to really, especially judgment. The minute I'm in judgment and self-rejection of myself, I have cut myself off from any curiosity of being able to look deeper or explore further. So, and when I'm in that, I can't necessarily make clear choices that are going to be in my highest alignment. Either I think I don't deserve what's in my highest good, I don't deserve to be happy, I'm punishing myself, I don't feel worthy of a situation, of people, of different things in my life, I can't receive. So I'm not going to be able to align with my highest good. So I hope you can start to see how these developmental stages of sacred centering, sacred grounding, falling into self-love, and then making the highest choices to continue, right? To grow and expand and evolve, not because I'm perfect, not because there, aren't still things, shadow aspects of my being perhaps that I'm not crazy about, but because I have accepted and acknowledged them, and I am willing to do what I can to heal those beliefs and perspectives. So that in itself is going to allow me to come into an alignment to make choices to do that. And every time we come into a new alignment, it's like we go through mini rebirthings. And most of the time, other people around us don't necessarily know, right, that we're reborn again and again and again. Because it happens on very deep, subtle levels. And yet, within us, we notice the shift. We notice that, oh, wow, I feel happier. Wow, oh, I feel more gentle with myself. Oh, yeah, I wish I wouldn't have said that, but okay, I did. And I understand where it came from. I understand, what motivated me to say that. And either I can rectify that, or I know now to be on the watch for that knee-jerk reaction that moves me from an unhealthy motivation to respond or react in ways that aren't really what I really want or who I really am, or, or what I really want to be open to. So divinely aligning is also practicing co-creation, not manifestation to manifest something outside of me. Oh, I want money, I want a new car. These might be on the radar. But more so, it's to co-create frequency, higher frequencies, higher states of consciousness within myself that are directly connected to my soul's path, right? My soul's blueprint, and a power higher than me, right? So that I'm not really doing all this by myself. I have a ton of support, right? We have guides in the unseen realms all around us all the time. We've got our own higher self, our own higher wisdom, our own higher aspects that are always supporting us. They're always with us. They're transferring information through our intuition, through our gut knowings, through epiphanies, right? All of those come through us. The more open we are to receive them, to pay attention, and then to follow their lead. Meaning, if I'm getting, a download of information or a knowing that is going to invite me to take a different action than maybe I normally would, as soon as I take that new action, even if I don't know what it's about, right? I'm going to take that new action and I'm going to come into this deep alignment between source, soul, and my own heart, my own truth, my own higher wisdom. And we get to choose this moment by moment, every day. And when we stay in connection with this practice, with this process, with this practice, with I sing it to myself all the time, divinely align me to my highest trajectory of that which is in my highest blueprint for my highest expression of reality. Like every day, multiple times a day. Because as we start raising our frequency and coming into these higher awarenesses, we can swap out the stories of our fears and our anxiety and feeling like we need to control everything into calling on that help. Saying, yes, I'm here. I'm available. I'm available to move into the next highest thing, right? The next highest expression of life that life wants to meet me with. And when this happens, there will be old things that fall away. There might be grief. There might be senses of loss. There might be confusion. Because we don't always know when we come into divine alignment, right? Where that's taking us. And that's just part of the journey of faith and trust in our soul knowing, because our soul already knows what it's doing. It knows where we're going, right? It's already written. It's all written. So why not go along for the ride, right? Why not go with the river? So how do you know when you're divinely aligning? Life becomes more calm. There's deeper sense of peace. There's more joy. There's more levity. There's less inner noise. There's less anxiety and stress. Now, when I say more and less, I'm not saying that these are absolutes and that we're going to be, only feeling the love and light, so to speak, But what's going to happen is we're going to have over time more of that alignment, less of the stress and anxiety, because our frequency raises. So this is part of the reason why I'm doing the embodied moments, the light language activations. Because the more that we engage and activate our system with higher frequencies, with these divine qualities, the easier it is to come into divine alignment. And the more efficiently we can be in connection with this level of guidance. So there's a consistent uptick of happiness, of freedom. And with that uptick comes the moving out, right? The leaving old timelines away, or leaving old timelines behind. You can actually scroll down in some of my older videos, and I go into some of more of the basic ascension information, right? About timelines, a little bit about divinely aligning, about the shadow, how we navigate the shadow, about raising the frequency, about 5D and new earth realms living, which is what we're really talking about here. It's coming into a place of activating our ability to access those higher realities, because we don't do it from outside of us. We do it inside of us. So the healing journey has a point. Our healing and inner resolution and expanded consciousness has a point. It's to deliver you to like heaven on earth. And I'm saying that almost kind of literally, like the new earth, one way to look at it is that we're merging heaven on earth as we move into a higher frequency reality of a 5D reality. Thought it was all woo-woo for myself back in the day, but it is not. Okay? And it is where we're all being invited to go. And there is help showing up in people, places, information that is getting your attention, right? If you're listening to this, and if this is a new concept to you, it's actually an invitation that perhaps you have been guided to support your divine alignment, to awaken to a whole new potential, a possibility, something to explore, right? For you to find out whether it's right and true and real for you. You can't take my word for it. This is an embodiment process. This whole journey is an embodiment process of inner self-discovery. Excuse me. So when we come into divine alignment, it's a prayer. And it's a saying yes to receiving an answer to that prayer. It's a yes to saying, I surrender. I surrender my will, right? So the right side is kind of more our masculine, dominant, the leader in the physical realm, right? So our inner masculine, in its lower stage of understanding is all about my will. It's got to be my way. I'm the doer, right? So that's that ego construct way of operating. And we need that. We need the masculine. We need a developing and an evolving ego construct as well, and one that integrates with our journey. But we also need the surrender, the non-doing, the feminine, the internal realm, right? The mystery, the living mystery that moves through us, that speaks to us through our intuition, that speaks to us through what we're drawn to, the things that we can't always explain, and yet there it is. That's our inner feminine. That's our intuition trying to guide us. That is where we surrender the doing into accessing soul and the divine. However that shows up for you. Life with the capital L, divine source, spirit, God, goddess, all of that, whatever that is for you. It's this uniting inside then from the doing. So the the masculine has to be merged with the feminine. And this is the whole inner alchemy um, work that I do, that I'll do some videos on this as well. This is part of the, deeper inner union, masculine, feminine, inner union, alchemy relationship, the inner marriage that then helps us in establishing our external romantic relationships. But for this purpose, for divine aligning, we need this marriage to happen so that we stop and we allow the divine and our soul to do their thing. They actually have the most powerful mojo when we get out of the way. But we're very conditioned to stay in the doer and to stay in control. Surrender is scary. Letting go is scary for most of us. Divinely aligning starts to cultivate our ability to act, be a balanced doer, be a higher frequency doer, of a higher frequency masculine expression, and then the masculine falls back into the feminine and allows the divine and soul presence to actually be the manifestors of what is right and true, not what the ego construct thinks is supposed to be. So it is my will from my right side. My will is my masculine, and I need my will. Thy will is the feminine, divine will. So when we can get to the point where we're living through the process and practice of let my will be integrated into thy will. Let thy will be done. Let thy will surrender me from my doer so that I can let go into what is right and true for my highest good, for my highest trajectory, for my highest and deepest truth. So I'm going to invite you just to feel this with me, all right? Let my will merge with thy will. Let my outer merge with my inner. Just close your eyes and feel. Let my masculine merge with my inner feminine so I can rest. I can take a break so that my feminine can help me receive what is divinely aligned for me from the highest, deepest wisdom and the ultimate love of me. I surrender to that. So when you can feel that life is love, life loves us tremendously and wants us to live vibrantly, wants us to live in one of my favorite words, flourishing, right? Wants us to live abundantly, wants us to live as love, wants us to receive love in our life and give love in our life. But we have to be willing participants. We have self-will. And we get to choose to align with divine will, to surrender to that. And it makes life a lot easier, right? Less messy. If you listen to one of the other videos on the messiness is perfection, there comes a time where we don't need a lot of the messiness because we're flowing downstream. If you're flowing, or if you're pushing against the wind, you're pushing against the stream, right? It's hard, it's tough, it's exhausting. It's one of two things primarily. You're out of alignment. You're going against divine will, against your soul's knowing, or you're in a process of a deep cleansing and moving out old ways. And so much is healing that you can't really find your grounding. And so it's going to feel like things are really hard. Okay, that's if you're on this journey. If you're not really on this journey yet, you might just be living that really unconscious, messy life. So this is an invitation. Come this way, right? Come this way. Learn how much easier it can be. And it's a process, and we're all in this process. And when we know we're in the process, we can start to have fun in the process. We can start to be like, wow, okay, I'm open to the magic and wonder of whatever the divine wants to bring me. And I'm willing within that to let go what is not going to allow me to reach my highest potential, to come into a deeper love, right? It's an invitation to allow love to guide you. Divinely aligning allows love within you, love all around you, to guide you towards more love. But we have to be willing. We have to be willing to let go. We have to be willing to surrender. We have to be willing to step back and take a break and stop thinking that we are the ones in control. But to co-create with a higher awareness, a higher power that will let us control if we really want to, right? It's not pretty, but really wants to work with us, wants to partner with us, wants to support us in knowing our truth and having our truth. So may you come into your highest divine alignment for your highest trajectory of peace and love, purpose and service, joy and celebration, love and being loved, in ease and grace, and inner balance and harmony.